Hi, Robin Thurston here. Just thought I'd jump on and do a quick little video to talk through how I went about doing my remix of Foress, Take Me Away, which is out now on BC2 Records. I found the original parts for this track pretty inspiring, so it was a great remix to work on. And I'll just give you a quick overview of what parts we had in the pack. We had some pretty lush pad sounds, which I really liked, which I think is this channel here, which is pretty cool, as you can hear. So we've got that. We've got another lead here, which we'll play in a minute. We've got that sound. What else have we got? We've got in the break, we've got another lead here, which again is a really powerful sound. It sort of works great at the peak of the record there. And various kind of atmospheres and textures. And of course the bass, which is a pretty key part to the vibe of the record. We've got a sort of couple of different loops of it. Got the more kind of flat bass pattern there. It sort of develops into something a bit more tuneful and melodic there. And then we've got sort of sections later on where it's got that more aggressive sort of moog sound. I think when I'm going about doing remixes, I think one of the first things I do is just try and jam out a few different ideas, really, on the sort of melodic side of things. I mean, actually with this remix, as I say, I really liked the original parts, so my kind of approach was to try and stay pretty true to the original, actually, but I thought it could maybe be arranged slightly differently in a way that's consistent with my style and also that kind of progressive house groove. I think one of the first synths I reached for was my Moog Sub 37 that I have in the studio here. It's a synth that I should probably use more actually on my records because it's a bit of a beast, but it was actually playing around with some presets I found in this pack that I bought from the company Audio Tent. They do some great preset packs for the Moog, and got this sort of sound playing here that I thought was pretty cool. I bounced it out as audio here, but it's got some sort of delay and stuff on it, including this Valhalla Supermassive plugin. And actually when I bought this pack, they actually were providing actual presets in Supermassive for the sound. And Valhalla Supermassive, when I bought it, I think it still is as like a free plugin, so it's one definitely worth having. So that was done on the Moog. Also, sort of later in the record, I've got this other bass that kind of plays off the main bass. It sounds a bit aggressive and growly there, but it seemed to sort of interact with the other one, which I thought was kind of an idea to potentially run with on this track. They just about work together, I think. And then the other thing was I talked at the top about the pad sound, and I kind of felt that maybe it could play one or two sort of extra notes within the sequence. So I then ended up basically doing a pad on another kind of synth. So you can sort of hear there's a couple of additional notes in the kind of melodic sequence there. And I just did this pad. It was just a sound that I found on Arturia Pigments. Again, I've bounced it out to audio here, and it has some reverb on it to sort of make the sound really lush and nice. So I suppose I sort of kind of jammed out certain ideas and sections, but I think pretty quickly I was going to focus on sort of getting the groove of the track right as I sort of wanted it. And I guess sort of starting with the kick and bass. I mean, I think in the Foress original, the more melodic bit of the bass, or the sequence bit, comes in earlier, but I sort of just started with this more sort of basic bass like that. It's got a nice sort of punchy kind of kick going on, which is sort of very important to the record. And interestingly, I think for a long time on this record, I actually was using a different kick drum, but the track wasn't really kind of working that well until I switched to this one, and everything just seemed to sort of hang together a bit more. And I think I've used this kick actually on at least one other track that I've done, so it probably is a favourite one that I sometimes go to. And yeah, there's just various kind of hi-hats and shakers in this track, probably too many, but it kind of seemed to work okay. But in terms of the actual groove, we've got this perk drum kind of thing that you'll hear in a minute, that I think is from the original pack of this track, which is quite cool. I've then got another loop here that kind of plays off it, and I mean that was just a loop from a loop pack, but I have cut out quite a lot from the loop, so just got the bits that I wanted from it. Then again, another loop, this sort of more melodic-y kind of perk, and again I'll see later on it might play something slightly different, a slight variation on it, but like that, you see. There's other stuff going on, like there is a kind of like 808 tom drum in there at one point, kind of early on. But yeah, I sort of felt that I sort of got the groove laid down quite nicely there, which you'll hear when I take the solos off. And so yeah, I was kind of had some kind of sections and stuff going on, which were sounding quite nice. Then also, I suppose, obviously needed to think about the structure of the track, and yeah, just generally have a breakdown in the middle somewhere. And originally I think my approach was, well, let's just use the original sounds from the original, because they were so kind of good. Obviously you've got this lead, I think it's this one here that kind of comes in for the first time in that break. I was probably thinking, well, let's just make this even bigger kind of than what it was in the original. So I've maybe sent it to something. Yeah, I sent it to Guitar Rig. This is sort of a preset that I like there. It sort of has pretty big sort of reverb on it. But then I was kind of thinking, does the break need something a bit more? And always with remixes, I do like chuck a lot of ideas at it and sort of see what sticks. And in this case, I basically just stumbled onto this preset in Silent, this ARP sound. It's bounced as audio here, but I'll show you a bit later on what it is. But it just seemed to, literally, I think I just hit F sharp or whatever note it was, and it just came out with this arpeggiated sequence as part of the preset. And it just seemed to work perfectly with everything else, although it is quite a busy sound, so there was a question about how was this going to come back later on in the record. So it sort of plays here, and then you'll see in a minute when I take the loop off that it then works quite nicely when we come out of the break, when things drop back in, and then you strip back to basically the kick, the bass, the art, and the vocal, and it just kind of nicely drifts along for an 8-bar section here, and then some more elements kind of come back in, and just sort of hats and the shakers to keep the momentum of the track going. But there's obviously a question of how's it going to work with other stuff. So I mean, here I'm basically going back to that. It's kind of a bit of a change up. It's like going similar to that idea I showed at the top with the two basses playing off each other. And I quite like to do that, actually, just change things up like this. The art's got that sequence there, but be going for the A, B section kind of thing. I find quite sort of compositionally interesting. I think when I was starting out with production, and I'm still guilty of it, I just throw in more and more elements, and sometimes too many. So it's quite nice to just take things out, add them back in again, just to sort of keep the momentum of the track moving forwards. So yeah, we've got this section here with the bass, and the pads and melodies are in, the leads is in. And we've got 16 bars basically of that sequence. Then see how was I going to sort of evolve that original idea, because as I say, the sound, that ARP sequence was quite busy. It wasn't necessarily going to work with everything. So what I've done for this 8 bars is this actually is the same sound, but with the arpeggiator taken off. So if you go into silent there, I mean, on the just basically just taking that off. So it's a part of that original sound. It gives it quite an epic feel at that point. I mean, maybe it's a slightly cheesy sound, I don't know, but it seems to work. And then this next 8-bar sequence, what's the new element here is this kind of pluck sound, which is actually, I think, this sound here, or a loop of it. But what's going on is basically Ableton's Echo plugin is making it into more of an ARP sound, which then gels with some of the other elements. So if I just take the echo off, you can hear it basically sounds like the pluck lead from the break. I suppose this is like the payoff section. We've sort of had the A section, the B section, if you like. It's developed a little bit, and here's where it all kind of comes together. So is absolutely key to the way this arc is sounding. So if I take it off, that's what it sounds like. Very different, not very good. Put that on, just completely different vibe to it. It's also got, again, got some reverb from Raw Native Instruments reverb plugin, which is giving it the vibe it has. That only kind of plays at this point on the record. And the other thing with the break is vocal. So I had the vocal just doing something slightly different at this one point in the record. So it's take me away. And it can be nice just to have those sort of moments, if you like, where something different happens at one point. And then actually on the vocal, I do have some reverb on there, this vocal hall preset. I also have this other plugin called CQ. It was part of the Sound Toys bundle. It's not one I've really used much, or probably not even used it before, but I think it just gives a bit of extra clarity to the vocal. I think I was watching some other tutorial that Marsh, the producer on Anjuna Deep, was doing, and he was using it. It seemed to work pretty nice. And then we sort of just come out of the break. Here we actually, this lush sort of pad atmosphere actually plays out. Sort of, you probably hear it more in the outro than you do at any other kind of points in it. But yeah, I was very pleased with how this one turned out. And yeah, it's out now on BC2 Records. There'll be a link in my bio or in the comments where you can check it out on Spotify, Beatport, wherever. And yeah, I hope you found this tutorial useful. Let me know if you'd like me to do more of them in the future, if you found it interesting, sort of insight into my creative process. But yeah, hope to catch you again soon. See you later.